if you think you've clicked on a video from the past, don't worry, that's not the case. It is not an old video and this is not an old car either. What it is the facelifted version of the Volvo XC60. Now while the changes might seem microscopic, there has been a lot of work done. Now we are going to see what all is new, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to Autocar India, and while you're there, press the bell icon as well. Now let's get back to the XC60, and like I said, the changes are really incremental, so you really have to be a Volvo fan to know what all has been changed, because as you can see, the power lines from the bonnet have been carried forward. You still get the same LED headlamps with these Thor's hammer DRLs, but if you look closer, what is new is this grille. It still is a chunky chrome finish grille, but it is a lot more sharper now, and low down you have the revised bumper as well. You get a new design for the bumper and you get a lot of chrome elements. You get this nice chunky chrome strip here, you get some chrome elements at the sides, and that is pretty much it. Volvo have not really bothered to do much with the front of its car because it still is that nice bold front end that you like. Over to the side of the XC60, again, not a lot has changed because dimensionally there has been no revisions. It still has the same wheelbase, it still has the same length, so the silhouette is the same as well. You get a good amount of chrome around the windows, you get a nice chunky chrome strip for the doors as well. But what is new are these alloy wheels. They're still 19 inches, but you get a new design which is a lot more sharper and a lot more modern. But again, like I said, not a big change. And as you come over to the rear, it is pretty much the same story. The biggest change is the bumper. They have been revised like on the front. You get a decent amount of chrome here, and if you remember the older diesel version, you saw two chrome dual tip exhaust. Well, that have been hidden behind the bumpers now. You get a very clean and uncluttered look on this one, and of course the B5 badge. Now that is something that we are going to get into later, but overall the design of the XC60 is pretty much a case of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, there was nothing wrong with it in the first place, so with the facelift they haven't bothered to change much. Now, has that treatment continued on the inside? Let's find out.
The interior was always a big pulling point on the XC60, and though changes inside are minimal, you like what you see.
Now inside the XC60, it is the same story like it is on the outside. Not a lot that has changed. The design, the dashboard layout is pretty much what you've seen before. You know, you have this nice amount of open pore wood. It's really nice and rich. Then you have these beautiful vertical AC vents that are finished in metal. Again, adds to that overall rich opulent feel. The steering wheel is still the same. You still get the digital instrument cluster as well. The gear stock, which is now in this nice crystal finish, definitely has added to that luxury appeal of a car. And you now also have a wireless charging pad. Now that is very convenient, because usually in cars you have that little bit of a slot to put in your phone. In this, you just sort of place it here, and that's pretty much it.
The other changes, and rather big ones, are in the 9-inch tablet-style touchscreen. Volvo has partnered with Google, and as a result, you now have Google Maps as standard along with Google Assistant. The overall user interface is more in line with a smartphone, and you can also log into your Google account and download other apps like Spotify, etc. Then there is also the PM 2.5 air purifier that adds another layer of safety to the cabin. For the backseat passengers, there is individual climate control along with Type-C ports, and space in general is good. That said, taller passengers will find under-thigh support inadequate.
Now the other big change on the XC60 is under the bonnet. We saw the B5 badge at the back, and B5 is Volvo talk for mild hybrid, which means under the bonnet you have a 2-liter turbo petrol engine good for 250 horsepower. Now it is plenty of power, but you also have a 48-volt battery that assists during that acceleration, the initial surge. The battery does sort of help a bit, and of course it helps you save that precious fuel as well using auto start stop. So that is a big plus. But the highlight has to be the refinement of the engine. It is really smooth, it is quiet and calm in here. Inside the cabin you barely hear the engine, and unless you go past 3000 RPM you really don't feel it working. It is really a very smooth and composed engine. However, the engine might be nice, but what holds it back is the 8-speed automatic gearbox. It is nowhere close to the Audi Q5 in terms of shift speed. Even the BMW X3 for that matter, it also has an 8-speed automatic traditional torque converter gearbox. This one is hesitant, it is relaxed, a bit too relaxed and laid back for that matter, and you just cannot rush this car. The feeling that you get every time you drive it is that you need to be really patient with it, really lenient, and only then can you truly enjoy it, because there are no paddle shifters here. Yes, you do get manual function for this nice crystal gear shifter, but it is side to side. You know, if you have to engage manual, you just flick it down and now you have to move on side to side, right side for plus, left for minus, and that is not really natural. You know, you're used to up and down or front and back, but this thing just doesn't work. And even then the shift speeds aren't really responsive, so you do sort of struggle a bit when it comes to manual control. The best way then is to just pop it in D and have a relaxed foot. Sedate driving is what it does best. Now, performance is fine, but what about ride quality? You know, a car in this segment, it really is a very important aspect. However, with this mild hybrid version, it hasn't gone too far from the older car. You know, it's still the same firm ride that we've seen on the XC60 before, and low speed bumps as a result are sort of filtered through. You do feel like that, a lot of those thuds that come into the cabin, and it's not really a very comfy or supple ride like the Q5 or even the GLC for that matter. However, once you gain speed, things start to look positive. Highway speeds, it is really pliant and composed. Undulations are taken care of really well, so you won't really feel it that much on a good stretch of tarmac. But if you're on a bad patch of road, it is a bit busy in here.
By now it is clear that the XC60 isn't an enthusiast choice.
So it won't really matter if I say that the XC60 wallows about. It has a good amount of body roll as well. Steering is not really feelsome. Yes, you do have an option in the menu to sort of firm up the steering response, but that helps only marginally maybe. You don't really feel a lot happening through the steering. It is more about that relaxed driving experience, and that the XC60 offers in plenty.
And that's the thing about the XC60. It is unapologetically an SUV made for comfort and luxury. Priced at Rs 61.90 lakh, it is competitive against its German counterparts, and while they might be the more engaging to drive or even a bit more comfortable, the XC60 brings with it opulence and an expensive feel that make it feel just so special. So if you are in the market for a mid-sized luxury SUV that focuses on the luxury bit, the updated XC60 ticks all the right boxes.